Okay, here we are. We have made it to the end of another year. 2025 is hours away. And I kind of wanted to go through what is going on, what has happened, what will happen, what the future holds, and kind of give you uh, a perspective of how things are about to change and in the industry and around, everything that we do. Things that I've seen, things that I've experienced, things that have kind of been around, um, not only this past year, but in years gone past, doing it for several years and seeing a lot of different changes and a lot of different things that came through the pipe. I'm not by any means the absolute on anything, but I do have a lot of experience, not only in it, but in business and just seeing things that have gone on and how things, kind of work out once they've reached to that point. Um, the last year I was kind of looking through and I did a video, and it was one of my more popular videos on how you can start a bouncy business with your tax return and the things that I would do, how I would, build that company just from a $10,000 investment, and how I would kind of work it in. And I think that those things have changed dramatically for this year. Not to say that you can't do it, not to say that it's not possible and that you can't kind of get into it and be a part of it and start the business. But the expectations have changed. Um, it'd be very, very difficult, I think, and again, not to put the cart before the horse or anything like that. It'd be very, very difficult to dive into something with a $10,000 investment and go full time, and use that as a sole means of support. It would be very, very hard. And it's because of the environment that has changed. Things, are different, and that's not to say that they can't be used as something to enhance, the income that you have, or to create, a second income within a household or something like that. But it is different in the respect that it's not something that you uh, would grab hold of, singularly as an income, because you know the situation, the environment is 100% different, and so much has impacted the field, and we'll get into that right now, and not to backtrack on everything that I'm saying, but uh, economic conditions have changed from 24 to 25, and they were different in 23 than they were in 24, and so on. We came off of this huge COVID kind of wave that changed the way that America was doing things. Everything was done at home, and that was 100% in our wheelhouse. That was 100% of what we were doing. It was scary at first. We all stood back and were like, oh, what are we going to do? But then we saw that people were gravitating towards us and what we were doing and the things that we were doing. And it created this swell of interest and business, and kind of situation where everybody was not only looking to do things in their own circles, in their own homes, in their own neighborhoods, so, but they were also looking for things to do that they can do from their home. So it created interest not only for the one side to develop, but it also created the other side, which was kind of to be in it and to be a part of it, um, to be a customer, and to be, you know, renting the units and being in business for yourself. And it was exciting. It was exciting for everybody. The people that were getting into it were coming into a field that was very, very easy and relaxed, and there wasn't a whole lot of room for error or a problem. There was a huge gap between the income that was created and the money that was needed, both for sustainability and to run the business, but also, just startup cost and the whole 9 yards. And you could use things that were burgeoning within the industry to market and to push your stuff. And it was very, very easy just to boom, there you are. You're in it. You got it. You got your units and you got, everything that you need, and you're literally renting them and making money. It was exciting. And there was a lot of people on my side that got into it and started touting the way that, oh, you can make a bunch of money, including me. I did several videos on the amount of money that you could make and how much it was, very impactful on the way that you can literally put minimal input and get maximum, coming back to you, which was great. And it wasn't a lie, and it's still not a lie. There's a lot of room within the industry for you to make money and do it right. But the rules have changed as far as, how you get there. And the economic times that are coming are, again, going to impact that in a very, very different way. There's going to have to be, eventually there's going to have to be some pain. And we're kind of seeing, the rumbling and grumblings of that new president and the new administration and new rules and new, things are going to change and things are going to be different. And long gone are we're going to do whatever you need to do to, make money, and we're going to cut you a check. We're going to, pay for this and pay for that. And government promises just aren't going to be there anymore. So you can't rely on that. And, that's important to know, but it's not a game changer. It's not going to kill everything. You literally shouldn't be dependent on that anyway, because if you're going into business with that crutch, what you're going to do is you're going to create a situation where you're not going to be able to function without it. So it's better that you don't do it to begin with. So keep that in mind going into the new year. If you're in business, if you've been in it for a year, a couple years, or if you're just starting, or even if you've been in it for a long, long time and you've gotten into that groove of where you need that, it's not going to be there. It's literally going to be taken away, and that is going to kind of weed out those who want to be in the industry because it's easy, and those who want to be in the industry because they want to be in the industry. And again, it's good. It's a good thing. And those videos and those touts of how you can make a bunch of money will still be there, but you take them with a grain of salt, because they are what they are. I mean, you can find that niche in anywhere, and you can find that means to make that money anywhere. But somebody who's selling you on, this particular inflatable made $8 gazillion or whatever, and they're not explaining to you all the costs that go along with that and all the other things. They're just kind of creating a situation where you're going to have an expectation that's not going to be reached. You're going to have this thing that is, kind of a dream that is not obtainable. And it'll be very frustrating for you, and it'll be very, very upsetting for you that you listen to people and did things like that. Again, I am not trying to take away your dreams. I hope and pray that everybody that is doing what they're doing, succeeds and makes everything that they want to make. But on the flip side, I do want to, issue that warning of caution that there are things that are coming that are going to make it a little more difficult. And if you do the right things, you'll be able to move, into that and create that opportunity for yourself. Let's talk about competition. This is a huge thing that I have seen has changed along with the economic, conditions that are on the horizon, the things that are coming. And again, I am one of the ones that tout there's no such thing as competition, and we're all in this together, and blah, 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 blah. I'm not talking about individuals, okay? I'm not talking about the guy or girl that wants to be in the business with you, that is, trying to do the same thing as you. As long as we're playing the same game, as long as we're rolling the same dice, we are still good, and we are still on board for the same situation that we talked to before, meaning that it's a level playing field, and competition is good. It brings things into the industry and brings people into the industry and makes a situation that is uh, vote vibrant for the industry. Also, it kind of weeds out the problems, because if there are two people doing the same thing and there's a better way to do it or a better product, and that is what you gravitate towards within the same parameters of price and availability and the whole 9 yards, then what it does is it raises the standards for everyone, and that's good. That's huge. Um, so I'm not talking about that kind of competition. The kind of competition that I'm talking about is the competition that we really can't control. It's the competition, one, of people being in the industry who are not in the industry, meaning people who are buying things on their own, churches and businesses that are buying inflatables and they're using them for their own events, and creating this what they think is this price saving measure where they just kind of roll out their own stuff and use it for their events and then roll back up. The problem that I have with this is that, one, they're not required to have the same kind of situation that we are as far as insurance and things like that. Not that they're not required, they just simply don't. They don't do it. So they're not kind of hobbled with that expense on their side. And then the other side of it is that they get into this and they don't realize how much work it is, and then they'll assign someone to do this, and then they'll figure out real quick that this is tough. And even for something where you're only doing 4 or 5 events a year, or you're only doing a situation where there's a couple of issues or problems. It kind of expands and becomes bigger and bigger, and where we're in the industry and we're used to kind of dealing with that kind of thing, it can strain not only relationships, but it can strain whatever that organization is, the church or whatever, and create us an opportunity that the arguments and the dysfunction kind of gets into. The other thing is that, and I've kind of preached this before. And this is the thing that I think really everybody needs to understand, is that we are in the business of being special. And when you take that away, when that's readily available and it's literally in the yard, or it's anytime you want to roll it out, it's there. What happens is that we are no longer something that draws the attention and creates this opportunity for us to be in the industry as a special event, or something that generates a lot of hubbub and people reacting in the whole 9 yards. I do a lot of school events, and I'll do the same event every single time, bang, bang, bang. But my clientele changes, every year or every few years. So what happens is that they kind of move through. So I'm able to do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again for several years. But the problem is that the customers are different, and that always works. But if your customers are the same and your products are the same, then you are literally the swing set in the yard, or you're the trampoline, or whatever. You're not that special piece of excitement anymore. You're something that is literally seen and passed by every day. So we need to keep that in mind, and we need to also kind of preach that, without harping. And I understand why people in the industry, or people who are outside the industry, that use the industry, are doing what they're doing, if churches and organizations or whatever are buying pieces and stuff like that. My recommendation is that we help them. If there's something that is small, something that is that they would use more readily, something that they would use, maybe some games or something like that, then we help them pick out the right ones, help them, do the stuff that's going to augment the stuff, but make sure that they understand that they need to leave the big stuff to you. They need to leave the things that are going to be the staple to you, not only because we want to protect and augment that feeling of this is a special event, but we also want to take away if I'm doing the big slide, you don't have to, and you don't have to deal with the big weight, and you don't have to do with all the placement and the safety and the insurance and the whole 9 yards. So what it does, it creates a situation where you can kind of relax as your thing, and both sides are happy. So uh, that is kind of in a nutshell where the competition comes in on that particular side. Now, the other competition is kind of the invasion of excitement from anything and everything. I mean, there are more things going on now than ever before. And the thing that I see is that those things that are going on, the excitement that is going on, the you know the hype and stuff like that creates this situation where there's kind of a sensory overload for people. When they have that, that's what they want. When they have it, they need more of it. And it kind of snowballs into this situation where it's more and more and more and more and more and more and more. So we in the industry are surrounded with this snowball of sensory overload. I've always got to do things. I've always got to be a part of things. I've always got to go places. I've always got to see things. And that may have been brought on by what we were talking about before with the COVID stuff, and people were locked up and now they want to go out, and now they've gotten to go out, and it's kind of created that situation where it's, frantic, and they've always got to top the last thing that was done. And now it's, creating that situation where it's going at hyper speed, and there's really no way to keep up. And what you're left with is that, again, that taking away of the special feeling, or the thing that says, man, this is great, or this is different, or this is, the holiday special, or whatever. So that kind of competition is something that again, outside of your wheelhouse, not a lot that you could do about that. And other than, doing the best that you can do and creating this opportunity that kind of is a safe harbor, a good bet. That would be my advice to you and anybody in the industry, is that you keep this situation where you're in this area where people know that that's where they can go, and the kids can have a good, safe time, and everything is taken care of, and there we have it. So competition, again, it's sometimes it's not what you can what you can see or fight or go against. It can always be something that's just right outside of your reach, and all you can do is hold steady and be that educational side of it. The next thing I see that is different this year than following years is the technology. And listen, this has been beat over the head, and I've beat it over the head about the AI and the Chat GPT and the whole 9 yards, everything that's going on. But going back to the last topic, it is also creating a lot of stuff that is exciting in the industry. And what people are doing is that they're trying that out, and they're testing that out, and it creates an opportunity for us to look as if we're antiquated, or that's not really, we've done all that. And again, it kind of whittles away at that situation where you're in this environment where things are different. Now, again, we're doing things in our industry that are just exciting. We showed a lot of stuff that we saw in IAPA with the lights and the sounds and the games, and the things are really evolving. The way, even the engineering of the stuff is, the units are getting better and better, and safer, and more readily available, so that we're getting into those backyards, and we're doing the things that we need to do to have fun with the people that want to have fun. So technology on our side is obviously doing some good as well, but I don't think that it's keeping up with the other side of the things that are going to create an opportunity for people to have this entertainment and this fun that is 100% outside of anything that we've seen before, and gone into this or realization that, man, it's a brand new world out there. It's it's going to be crazy. Now, technology is also changing a lot of other stuff, and I'll get into some of the other stuff like marketing and social media and all this other stuff. So it's becoming a situation where it is kind of enveloping everything, And it's going to create a situation where on the one hand, it's a little easier for us, and the other hand, it's a little more difficult for us, especially if you're not used to doing the things that are going to require you to do what you're doing. But I think that it's in the long run, and it always has. It always kind of evens out, and the things will be where they are in a certain circumstance. I think that our industry is going to it's going to even out and be a part of the bigger picture that is the entertainment, and that is also this everything that we do within the public and the people that are around us. And it's also going to be that opportunity to create those relationships that everybody is striving for, the gathering points and the things that literally are going to matter more than anything in the future that has come. Another thing that I wanted to talk about that is kind of affecting differently this coming year than last year, and we saw a little bit of it last year, is the skyrocketing expenses that are I don't know what's going on, and I'm going to try to find out. I'm going to talk to some people in the industry, and I'm going to look into kind of what the things are that have kind of hit and missed. But I didn't see a whole lot of insurance companies at IAPA. And my insurance bill was probably 30 or 40% more. No, maybe not that high. Maybe 25% more than it was prior to that for no reason. So if if I send you a bill and then I don't come to the party, what's going on? They don't want to be in a situation where they're being called out, and it's simply going to have to come to a head, because what they're doing, what the insurance industry is doing, and for anybody that's in the insurance industry, you can tell me I'm wrong, or you can tell me what's really going on. But I'm going to tell you what the perception is. People who have been in the industry for a long time, the people who have experience, the people who have the records of safety, the people who have the knowledge and the equipment that is tried and true, and are being pushed to a limit. And then people who are getting into the industry, people who are not been in it for a long time, people who don't have the experience, people who don't have the safety record, are being encouraged. So you're creating a circumstance where there's more instance for problems to occur, simply because there's just not the knowledge out there. You're pushing the people out of the industry that have the knowledge, because the bigger you are, the more they kind of charge you and harp on you and the whole 9 yards. And again, I'm not complaining about the cost of doing business. I understand the cost of doing business, and I am with the cost of doing business. But when those costs of doing business are creeping into a percentage that is well beyond anything that they should be, number one, and number two, anything that will allow me to continue to do my business in such a way that is not detrimental to my business, then it creates a problem, and there's where we're at. So the skyrocketing cost of insurance, gas, and again, it's not specifically for our industry, but it's literally a problem. You think that it's going down, and then it shoots right back up. And I know we've heard promises of things that are going to come in the whole 9 yards, but it needs to come sooner than later, because we're in a situation where we are going to be kind of hammered from all sides. And I think the worst thing that is about to come is if they don't get this trade situation worked out, if they don't get this ability for us to have or use or work with or produce inflatables in our country or close to our country, the fact that 90% of the industry relies on China, and the fact that we have a president who's bound and determined to tariff China into oblivion. And believe me, I'm not arguing one way or the other. They got better knowledge of what's going on than me. But I am going to tell you this: our industry is going to be hammered once you put those tariffs on, because they are literally just going to, shoot the prices right back up to where they were, and create this situation within the industry where it's going to cost a lot. And that may be a good thing. It may be a situation where, we are pushed through to a situation away from anybody and everybody's got to bounce and everybody can have it and everybody, it's no longer the trampoline in the yard or the swing set. If it becomes something that is a commodity again, something that is valued, then it will be something that is bigger and better. So yeah, I mean, maybe that'll be good, but there's going to be a lot of pain in between now and maybe, and you kind of have to adjust for that. If you've got stuff, you need to take care of it, and you need to start feeling out for where you can kind of make these adjustments and get the stuff. I would be really interested to know, and if there's anybody in the industry on that side of it, the manufacturing side of it, what plans are you guys making other than, you're going to slap the 25%, tariff on us, or the 50% tariff or whatever? What are you making? Are you moving your industry? Are you moving your manufacturing? What's going on? How are you going to make us feel better about what's going on? I'd like to know. And it's such a huge part of you know what has happened and what's happened. It's almost like we went through this wave, and with that wave of all the good business and everything that I explained after COVID, what I didn't explain was that there was this huge wave of price increase. Literally, units almost doubled in price, and we in the industry were all scrambling to try to figure it out, and that's why it caused these spikes in rental prices and things like that. And it almost created this situation where those spikes were joined to people saying, well, I can do this one thing and make a bunch of money. So it spurred on this opportunity for people to get into the industry because there was a lot of money being made without a lot of input on the other side. It is different. 24 to 25. One of the other big things that is about to change is social media, and social media has been kind of chugging along like this locomotive for a long time, and it's always been a part of our industry. You advertise through social media. People who use your products use social media back and forth because they're excited about here's the birthday and here's the kids, and they want to show everybody. So we were always that kind of staple of it. But social media in the market is changing to such a point. What we're getting into an environment where social media is almost the measure of your business. So what will happen is that I know you because of your social media. I know you because of what you're doing and what you're saying and how, I see you on social media and how I follow you and the whole nine yards. This is not just our business. This is all business across the board. And what happens is that you in the industry, in any industry, are going to be known through your presence on social media. And that's how I'm going to pick who does my heating and air, who's my plumber, who cuts my grass, who walks my dog. It's all going to be done through either I know you personally or I know you through social media. And, that creates this environment of trust and knowing and familiarity and everything that is needed for you to actually be in a circumstance where you're with somebody and you agree with somebody in the whole nine yards. And that's great. It's kind of a unique way to do business. It's kind of a way that we used to do business before we got into the point where everybody was doing everything and it didn't matter. Community didn't matter. There used to be the town guy that fixed your plumbing. There used to be the town guy that now, I mean, we're in the south end of Atlanta. Look at plumbers in Atlanta. There's a gazillion of them, so how do you pick? Used to be you would never even dream of calling someone out of Atlanta. They're not going to travel 30 miles now, every day. And it's the same thing with us. I do a ton of traveling, but social media is what's going to bind that all together. It's what's going to create this opportunity for people to get to know you as an individual and as a business, and know your product and know your standards and your personality and everything that jives with them, and that's how they're going to pick you. That's going to be crazy, because if you're popular, you're going to be stretched really, really thin. If you're not popular, you're going to be, really kind of diving to get that anywhere and anywhere, everywhere that you can. So what will happen is that you'll either have to expand your area, or you'll have to create a situation where you're finding customer through other means, um, uh, you know, morphing your business into something that is kind of attached or adjacent, but is not really what's going on. Going to be a wild situation. But social media is going to be that social score that we're at, that situation where we are in this uh, bubble with other people. So get ready for that, because it's important. And along with that, it comes your customer service skills. We have seen this again. This isn't something that has just changed, but this is something that is truly been magnified and will be magnified into the future. Your your customer service skills are going to be tested on a scale that have never been tested before. Um, because it's going to go along with that social media thing where they get to know you, and they expect this with that. Now, this all started with, I call it the Walmart syndrome, where Walmart initially started saying, if you don't like it, bring it back. We don't care. And they had a policy where they were going with their vendors and they were saying, listen, you have to accept the fact that we're going to accept returns, and this is our policy, and we're not going to lose money. So what we're going to do, you're our vendor. If a customer doesn't like it and they bring it back, you have to take it back and credit the money back to us, or whatever, however it worked. But it created this environment where people in the industry, in Walmart, in the customer base, all understood that all they had to do was take it back. And that has spread to every industry that's out there. Everyone understands, if you're not happy, you either get your money back, or you do this, or you do that, or that. So what happened is instead of increasing the level of performance on the business side, it increased the level of complaining on the customer side, where customers just weren't putting up with anything, and they don't put up with anything. If they have this instance where they're unhappy, and again, this is not all people, this is not all instances, so please don't assume that I'm talking about everybody or I'm downing anybody, but I do want you to be prepared for what's going on with you. Um, certain people will complain because they have the ability to complain, and it creates this opportunity for them to get, or whatever. And I found in my experiences, most cases, it's just easy to do what you need to do to get through whichever you're getting through, and then move away from that as quickly as you can, and go to customers that actually enjoy your service or your product or whatever, and focus on that. So maybe this goes the other way, and there's a social score for customers as well. I would love to see that, so that we can review customers instead of customers solely reviewing us. And I'm not saying that we don't need to be reviewed. We absolutely need to be reviewed, because you need to know what you're getting. But there also needs to be an instance where we're in a situation, not because it is good to complain, but we're in a situation because it is good, because the service is good, the product's good, and the whole nine yards. Customer service skills are going to be paramount in this year to come, and every year beyond that, because again, it's going to all fold into that whole social product that is you and your business in one envelope. Another thing is pricing. Now, in the short term, your pricing is going to be affected by the way that the economy goes. And I see that this year, everybody has said it, and it's not a secret. They said that there's going to be a recession. There's going to be some hurt and the pain and the whole nine yards. And I think that they know what they're talking about, and they have a grasp of what's going on. And that's not something that you need to be absolutely just appalled by, or fearful of, or running scared from. It's a situation where you can literally, showcase your products as a cheap means to do things with your family at home, and create the opportunity for fun and family right there without a huge cost. We are in the bubble to where we can do things for a certain price, and it doesn't have to be so far out of the range that it kills people in their economy or the way that they're making money or the whole nine yards. Now, if it goes to such an extreme that we enter into realms of harsh recession or something like that, you may see some people scaling back. And again, you can do certain things. Literally, you have the ability to morph your market into a way that you can make money, um, and still do the products that you need to do. Just may need to scale it back, smaller things and smaller, less less cost on you, more excitement and more uh, product and service onto the customer. So make it build the value, and the customers will come, even in bad economic times. So you don't really have to focus on that. But moving forward, moving beyond that and into the future, what you're going to be left with is an understanding of what level we're supposed to be at, and where the amount of money is there to be made, as opposed to the amount of money that they're willing to be parted from, or going to come to an even keel, and you're going to have an understanding of where you need to be. You need to be flexible enough so that you can make that adjustment within your business. And you can't do that if you're saddled with debt, or if you're in a situation where um, you're having expectations that are beyond the views of what is right now and what's going on. So be very, very careful. I think that the pricing and the place that we're going is going to be a little different from where we're at, and you just need to be ready for that. Um, your inventory management is, again, something that you're going to have to be focused on, and that's going to come along with that. And it literally is going to be different from any other year, especially the last few years, because the last few years was that wave crashing in on us just making as many rentals as we can. So that meant you had to have as much inventory as you can, and you were doing as many rentals as you can. I think that goes away and kind of settles into something that is a little more akin to what your business is going to be able to handle. There's going to be rentals, there's going to be business, there's going to be things that you're going to need out there. But there's always going to be this possibility that things are going to get to the point where you don't need 100 units to do your business and make the money that you need to make. That being said, you're going to have to make your inventory last longer, so you're going to have to take care of it, and you're going to have to learn to repair it and keep it clean and stored and the whole nine yards, because again, we don't know what's going to happen with where these are being made, or how they're being made, or how we're going to get a hold of them, or anything like that. I have a sneaking suspicion that things are going to go higher as far as the cost of the units. That this dip that we've seen has simply just been a reaction to what we came off of, and then it's going to go back up and kind of normalize somewhere in between the highs and the lows. But it's going to be higher than where we're at right now. So managing your inventory is going to be huge on that, and creating this situation where you are going to be able to optimize the amount of money that you're making, and the use of your units, and become a more efficient business. And that's good. That's good for you. It's good for the industry and whole nine yards. Delivery and setup, I think, is again going to change, and this is going to be affected by a couple different things. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go, but I think that there's going to be more expectations on, and in some cases, in some states, you have a higher standard. You have certification. You have certain safety standards and the whole nine yards. And then in other states, you don't have that. And there's a struggle with liability. Who has the liability? If you rent a bounce house and something happens because of what you're doing, you know, who has the liability? And again, there's a million different what ifs, but the fact of the matter is that simply because I own the product does not solely make me responsible for what's going on. And that has got to change in the industry. There has to be either some legislation, much like the legislation that is done for automobiles or the legislation that is done for a million other products out there, that shows a clear-cut line of responsibility in the use of these products and the setup in the whole 9 yards. If I set it up incorrectly and I do something that is on my side, then yes, 100%. I get it. If that can be attributed to this. But if you're acting in a certain manner and something happens and everything I've done on my side was correct, then the liability can't solely fall on the renters. And I think that the industry has gotten to the point to where the insurance companies are saying enough is enough. We're at a breaking point. Either we're not going to be insured, which is irresponsible. It is solely irresponsible for you to be in a situation where you don't have any insurance. But on the flip side, it is insane the amount of insurance that is required to cover simply to do a business. And they can equate this because somebody in Australia saw a dust devil that blew a bounce house into the air. The instances of injuries and severe injuries, deaths, and things like that from bounce houses are far, far, far fewer than things like bicycles and things like step ladders and trampolines. But the difference between those things and the difference between us is that the liability is already implied. You bought it, you own it, it's your product, it's in your yard, it's your trampoline, it's your responsibility. And we have this industry where we are the rental side of this. And I don't see where that should go beyond the fact that the installation, the explanation of use, and everything that is within that. Beyond that, your behavior on the unit, whether it's intentional or not, should fall within the realm of what. Look, things happen. Things happen on a daily. I promise you. Go outside and just watch. People are having car accidents. People are falling, on slippery stuff, and it just happens everywhere. But it's almost like this, in this industry, it's kind of honed in on us because we have insurance, and right or wrong, it's got to change because it can't keep going the way it's going. Anyway, delivery and setup is going to change, and I don't know how it's going to change. I don't know if it's going to get to a situation where people are literally just signing away their rights and they're taking these things home, and they're having to deal with it on their side, or if the standards on setup and delivery are changed so that it doesn't create a circumstance. Or again, I've seen things in the industry that are different. Bounce houses have changed. They used to be, you got off of a bounce house and there was a 3-foot drop to the ground, and then they went to a step, and now they have tunnels so that you can't fall out of a bounce house. It's getting to the point to where it's all that is moving through the safety standards, much like the safety standards that you had with automobiles or anything else. It's becoming more and more safe, but I don't think that it's quite caught up on the other side as far as the responsibility. And people, again, going back to that feeling of the Walmart mentality of where it's always somebody else's problem, or assuming that just because you're the owner, you have the liability. Anyway, enough of that. Finally, the thing that is going to be different this year from next year, or the thing that was different this year that is going to change next year, is marketing. And I've said this before, and I've talked to people in the industry, and there's a lot of people with their head in the sand when it comes to this. The old way of doing things is going away. I don't know how it's going to change because it is moving at a fever pace right now. They are jockeying for position, but you are seeing that every single organization out there has their own version of an AI, and that AI is going to be used by customers to determine what they want, how they want it, and it's really just a matter of who wins, who gets the shake, and because the days of me just dumping a bunch of money on you and I'm the top of the list, it's going away. It's over. Um, it's going to be replaced with something that is going to generate revenue, but it's not solely going to be on the side, I don't think, of the individual. I think some of that is going to fall on the side of the actual consumer, to where they're paying a subscription fee for an AI, and that AI is giving them a genuine analysis of what they're looking for and what they think in the whole 9 yards, not just this surface scratch of this is what somebody said about it, or this is what they said about themselves, and what is left is an improper or an incomplete view of what's going on. So I think that what's going to happen is you're going to have a subscription to ChatGPT, or one of the 50 million of them that are out there right now. Uh, Whoever has the most subscriptions, probably the top two or three are going to survive. Everybody else is going to fall to the wayside. And the best product will win. The best product will provide you with the information that you need. And that's how you're going to search for stuff from now on. You'll say, hey, Chat GPT, Google, whatever, this is what I want. And it will give you everything that you need. And it will also do it in such a way that it is used to what you need. So it's going to work best for you. It will understand what your concerns are. It will understand what is most important to you because of past searches, because of how you navigate through social media, and how do you navigate through past instances. If you're always looking for a cheap price, it's going to catch on to that, and it's going to look for stuff that is the best value for you. If you are always looking for something that is the most exciting, or the most, nobody's ever done this before, it's going to catch on to that. So it's going to be tailored to the individual, and not to the business that is literally cornered the market on, this is how much money I need to spend. Things are changing. It is getting different. And again, inside and outside the industry, it's going to be a exciting new world, something that is really, really different and amazing for both us and for the customers. I'm excited about it. I think that it's really, really going to be something that is a long time coming as far as the change, and we're going to get the things that we were always kind of promised before, or at least I hope. It doesn't scare me. None of this scares me, and none of this should scare you. If you're in the industry, you know what to do. It's the stuff that it's been preached and preached and preached and preached and preached. If you want to get into the industry, guess what? You just got a roadmap of what it's going to take, and what how to build your business and whatnot. So it's going to create this situation where you can function much, much better than you would have if you went into this blind. I want to thank you guys for your time. Thank you for participating in the live. Keep watching, and we will keep bringing them. Thanks, and see you next time.